Good morning. My name is Agudo, Senior Specialist of the Open Door Insurance Group. And today I'm here at the Sandy Springs Library on Roswell Road in Sandy Springs with the Wide-Eyed Optimist Group. This group is dedicated to helping new business owners achieve success through referral generation, networking, and marketing. Today, I have the pleasure of introducing a guest who's had a varied career. He's been a television cameraman, a post-production account executive, a minister, a theatrical producer, a film producer, and a motivational speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce senior producer Keith Ivey of Keith Ivey Marcomm. Welcome.
Hello, Lewis.
Hey. Keith.
Hearing all those things makes me sound like I couldn't hold a job.
Yeah. Well, what exactly is Keith Ivey Marcomm?
Well, it's a company I started to leverage the things I know how to do. I've been in marketing and communications all of my life, although for a lot of my life I didn't know that's what I was doing. I was in sales or I was producing. But what I realized at some point was that everything I did had one common theme. I was a marketing communications specialist. Over the course of my life, I've learned how to use marketing communications tools and strategies and tactics to do something that I think is really, really important in business, and that's to retain clients. Because retention of clients is just so important to any business's bottom line. And I learned fairly early in my life in business that was critical to my business, because I wanted to deal with people over and over and over again, as opposed to dealing with someone and then finding someone else to deal with.
And I've heard you speak about that before, that my 10 best clients are someone else's 10 best prospects.
That's right, absolutely. Sometimes we forget that everybody that we're working with is on somebody else's call list. And even the term "my client" is inaccurate. They are not my client. They are their own client. They just happen to give me the pleasure and the privilege of working with them at the moment, but that can change in a heartbeat.
And Keith, I've heard you talk about personal branding and how important it is. Why are you so passionate about branding?
Lewis, it's because I have come to believe that at the end of the day, when we climb into bed at night and turn out the light, it doesn't matter how good our product was, it doesn't matter how good our service was, nothing matters except our brand. Because if our product is really, really great, but we have created an inferior brand, no one will know about the product because they're not going to deal with us. The world that we live in is filled with products that are maybe not the best best of breed, but because somebody went to the trouble to create an incredible brand for that product, people buy it because they know it, they respect it, they like it, and therefore they buy it.
Do you have an example of a brand that you may be talking about?
Not really, because I would have to slam somebody or something. But I think everybody knows of brands that they're not necessarily the best of breed, but they're good enough, and they are well promoted, and they never do anything to diminish their brand. I think that is such a key thing. I want to show you something, because this is really important. Every relationship, this is how relationships work. Every relationship, whether it's personal or business, starts someplace. And let's say that's where we meet somebody. And then, as a result of some sort of interaction, that's the perception that that person has of us. That's their brand. But keep in mind that my brand is not something that I determine. In your mind, you determine my brand. I can influence it, but I can't determine it. And if the room is filled with 1,000 people, at this very moment, 1,000 people have a different brand for me. So I can influence it, but I can't determine it. How do I determine it? Through interaction. So let's say that you and I meet here, and we have a conversation, and at the end of the conversation, that's where I am in relation to my brand in your mind. And then you call me, and I don't return your call for 3 days. And during that period of time, my brand is diminished in your mind, because you now wonder why I haven't called you, why I haven't returned the call, what's going on. So I finally call you. We have a great conversation. you learn that all is well. All of a sudden, my brand is back up. And then I don't fill out the forms that you tell me to fill out. I don't respond. I don't do what I've agreed to do. And now my brand has taken another dip. That is the way relationships work. Once I became aware of that, and once I became aware that everything matters, it's not just how great the product is, or not just how great the service is. Every single thing matters. If I own a building, how clean my windows are matter. How well the grass is cut matters. Everything matters. Now, I can't control everything, but everything matters. In fact, I can't control it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. And my goal is to have interactions that look like that, because everything I say and do moves the relationship forward.
You know, I think a lot of what business owners do, we make mistakes. And you've made many mistakes, and we've talked about the mistakes I've made and the mistakes you've made. What do you think was the biggest mistake that you've ever made? What did you learn from it?
Well, there were a bunch of them. I've often said that I've made every single mistake that a business owner can make that doesn't land them in jail, and probably made a couple of those and didn't get caught. I think the biggest mistake, there were two. One, sort of a generic mistake. I was so involved in my business and so passionate about my business that I assumed it would last forever. I assumed that I was doing such a great job that that business would last forever and that it was nothing that could touch it. The second thing I did was that during really, really great boom days, I probably created more overhead than I needed. I wasn't diligent about managing overhead in great income days, because I assumed that those great income days would be there forever. And I learned very quickly, no, the fact that you made $1 million yesterday does not mean you will make $1 million tomorrow. So managing overhead and also managing my expectations of my business, I think if I had to do over again, those are the two things I'd do.
So Keith, what is the one piece of advice that you would have for entrepreneurs?
I think I'd have two. Number one, understand very clearly what it is that you do. What is the nature of your business? What is the thing about your business that without it, you don't have a business? And sometimes we can be misled about that, and we discover down the road that there was a critical factor to our business that we were not clear on, and so we didn't pay attention to it, and it damages or destroys the business. The second piece of advice I would give is be on the lookout for people who are smarter, funnier, richer, more passionate than you are, and surround yourself with them. Because if you try to do it alone, you'll die.
It's been great information, Keith. Thank you very much for being here today. Wide-Eyed Optimist Group would like everyone to know about Art for a Cure 2011, charity fundraiser, cocktail reception to benefit the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. This will be occurring at Azul Agave on Old Milton Parkway in Alpharetta. It is October 27th from 7 to 10 p.m. and a $10 donation is appreciated. We'd love to see you there. Again, this has been Louis Agudo, Senior Specialist of the Open Door Insurance Group. Until we see each other next time.
Nicely done.
All right. Good job, Mr. Ivey.